My brother told everyone I stole money from our dying father. Today, my phone is exploding with 56 missed calls. Family is supposed to be your sanctuary. Mine was a battlefield. I'm Michael Rodriguez, and this is how my own brother tried to destroy me. The story begins with our father's terminal illness, a cancer diagnosis that would change everything. Dad had always been complicated. A self-made construction business owner who built an empire from nothing, worth nearly $8 million when the diagnosis came. And my brother Stephen saw dollar signs where I saw a dying father. I'd been Dad's primary caregiver. Quit my job as a software engineer. Moved back home. Spent every waking moment managing his medical treatments, handling his business, keeping everything together. Stephen lived across the country. Showed up for quick visits. Took photos for social media. The perfect son narrative. But I knew the truth. While I was changing Dad's medical tubes, managing his pain, handling his complicated medical insurance, Stephen was planning something else entirely. The first hint came during a late-night conversation. Dad was asleep. Stephen leaned against the hospital room door. "You're burning through his money," he said quietly. "Someone needs to manage this properly." I didn't realize then that managing meant something very different to Stephen. Dad's will was clear. Everything split equally. But Stephen had other plans. And he was about to set something in motion that would change everything. Betrayal doesn't announce itself with a loud bang. It creeps in quietly, like poison. The first public attack came through a Facebook post. Stephen, with his perfectly curated social media image, dropped a bomb that would change everything. "Deeply concerned about financial misconduct," the post read. "My brother Michael has been misappropriating our father's funds during his terminal illness. Family is sacred, and criminal behavior cannot be ignored." Screenshots. Carefully selected bank statements. Partial conversations taken completely out of context. Stephen had been planning this for months. I watched the likes pile up. The comments flooding in. Friends. Extended family. Colleagues. Everyone was watching my public execution. My phone started blowing up. Texts from distant relatives. Concerned messages from old friends. Voicemails from people who hadn't spoken to me in years. Stephen had done his homework. He'd contacted a local investigative journalist. Leaked selected financial documents. Created a narrative of a son stealing from a dying father. The construction company Dad had built? Stephen was positioning himself as the savior. The responsible son who would protect the family legacy from my supposed theft. I had receipts. Medical bills. Detailed financial records of every single penny spent on Dad's care. But in the court of public opinion, a well-crafted accusation travels faster than the truth. My software engineering background became my secret weapon. While Stephen thought he was destroying me, I was quietly collecting evidence. Every email. Every text. Every financial transfer. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true destruction comes from patience. Stephen thought he was running a perfect con. He had no idea what was coming. Revenge is an art form. And I was about to become a master painter. While Stephen thought he had destroyed me, I was meticulously building my case. My background in software engineering wasn't just a career. It was a strategic advantage. I reached out to an old college friend, Rachel, who now worked as a forensic accountant. Off the record, I told her during a carefully orchestrated phone call. Each word calculated. Each piece of information precisely placed. The financial records became my obsession. Dad's construction company. Personal accounts. Business transactions. Stephen had missed one critical detail. Digital footprints are never completely erased. I discovered a pattern. Stephen had been slowly manipulating financial records long before his public accusation. Offshore transfers. Shell companies. The kind of financial maneuvering that would make a money launderer proud. Our Aunt Margaret became an unexpected ally. She'd always been sharp. Noticed things others missed. A casual conversation revealed more than Stephen ever intended. "Your brother's been asking about the family properties," she mentioned offhandedly. Kept talking about protecting the estate. Protection. What a beautiful word for theft. I began building a network. Quiet conversations. Strategic inquiries. The kind of information gathering that would make a corporate investigator proud. Dad's medical records. Financial statements. Business contracts. Each document was a piece of a larger puzzle. The most interesting discovery came from an old email chain. Stephen had been negotiating with a real estate development company, trying to sell some of Dad's properties. Before Dad had even passed away, our mutual family friends started to notice something was off. Subtle conversations. Careful observations. The perfectly crafted image was beginning to crack. I wasn't doing anything dramatic. I was simply letting the truth gather momentum. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true destruction comes from patience. Stephen thought he was running a perfect con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The landmines were set. All I needed was to watch them detonate. Precision is an art form. And I was about to become a master artist. The first crack in Stephen's perfect narrative came during a family real estate meeting. I'd been quietly preparing for months, gathering every single piece of evidence with the precision of a surgeon. The conference room at our family's law office was my chosen battlefield. Stephen arrived confident, his expensive suit a shield of perceived success. He had no idea the walls were about to come crashing down. I presented the evidence systematically. Bank transfers to offshore accounts. Unauthorized property negotiations. Falsified business documents. Each slide was another nail in his carefully constructed coffin. The family lawyer, Mr. Thompson, a man who had known our family for decades, watched with increasing disbelief. Stephen's color drained with each revelation. "These transfers," I said quietly, pointing to a series of suspicious financial movements, "aren't just questionable. They're criminal." Aunt Margaret's presence was my silent weapon. She'd always been the family's moral compass. Her careful observations. Her quiet support. Each raised eyebrow was another blow to Stephen's credibility. The real estate development company Stephen had been secretly negotiating with? I had their entire communication trail. Emails. Text messages. Recorded phone calls. Stephen tried to interrupt. To spin a narrative. But the evidence was overwhelming. Our mutual family members who had initially believed his accusations were now looking at him differently. Whispers. Careful glances. The perfect image was crumbling in real time. I hadn't done anything dramatic. I'd simply let the truth speak for itself. Some people believe in confrontation. I believe in letting evidence do the heavy lifting. Stephen thought he was running a perfect con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The first domino had fallen. And I was just getting started. Lies are like house of cards. Pull one thread, and everything comes tumbling down. Stephen's professional and social reputation began to disintegrate faster than he could manage damage control. The family WhatsApp group, once his platform for sympathy, became a battlefield of truth. Cousins who had initially supported his narrative about my supposed theft started asking questions. Uncomfortable questions. The kind that don't have easy answers. My Aunt Margaret became my unexpected strategist. "I've known something was off for years," she confided during a quiet coffee meeting. Her observations were like precision tools, cutting through Stephen's carefully constructed facade. The real estate development company Stephen had been secretly negotiating with started distancing themselves. Emails became shorter. Meetings were cancelled. Professional relationships he'd spent years building were evaporating. Social media, once Stephen's carefully curated showcase of success, became a minefield. Screenshots of financial documents. Detailed evidence of his manipulations. The perfectly filtered life was crumbling in real time. Our extended family began to see the truth. The late-night calls. The hushed conversations. The pieces started falling into place. Stephen's wife, Jennifer, was the first to truly break. A casual conversation revealed more than he ever intended. "How long have you been planning this?" she'd asked. The silence was deafening. I didn't do anything dramatic. I simply let the truth do the heavy lifting. Professional networks began to crumble. Business associates who had once praised Stephen were now asking hard questions. Investigations were launched. Reputations were at stake. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true destruction comes from patience. Stephen thought he was running a perfect con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The social web was unraveling. And I was watching it come apart, thread by careful thread. Some stories end with a bang. Mine ended with a calculated whisper. The legal proceedings were nothing short of a strategic masterpiece. I didn't just want to win. I wanted to dismantle everything Stephen had built. My evidence was comprehensive. Financial fraud, attempted property theft, falsified documents. The kind of detailed investigation that would make a forensic accountant weep with joy. Stephen's lawyer tried every trick. Character assassination. Claims of family jealousy. Attempts to paint me as a vindictive brother trying to destroy his successful sibling. I let the documents speak for themselves. Bank transfers to shell companies. Unauthorized property negotiations. Forged signatures. Falsified business contracts. Each piece of evidence was another nail in his coffin. Aunt Margaret became my unexpected strength. Her testimony, sharp and precise, cut through Stephen's fabrications like a knife. The court's decision was unanimous. Not only would Stephen face criminal charges, but he would be barred from any involvement in the family business. The construction company Dad had built would be protected. Stephen's professional network collapsed. Business partners disappeared. Contracts were cancelled. The empire he thought he was building crumbled in real time. His wife Jennifer testified against him. Those hushed conversations, those moments of doubt, they became the final weapon in his destruction. I didn't seek revenge out of anger. I sought justice out of principle. The millions Stephen tried to steal, they would now be fully protected. Invested in a trust for our aging mother. Secured for the family's future. Some people believe in dramatic confrontations. I believed in letting truth do the heavy lifting. Stephen lost everything. His reputation. His career. His social standing. His carefully constructed life. And I walked away with something far more valuable. Integrity. And a promise kept to our dying father. Some stories end. Some lessons continue. 3 years after the legal battle, life looked completely different. Our mother, now living comfortably, understood the true meaning of family protection. The construction company Dad had built was reborn. Not as the business Stephen tried to steal, but as a testament to resilience. To integrity. I'd learned something profound about family. About justice. About the kind of strength that doesn't come from anger, but from principle. Stephen disappeared. No dramatic exit. Just a slow fade into irrelevance. His attempts to rebuild his professional life were continually undermined by the comprehensive documentation of his betrayal. Our extended family found a new balance. Those who had initially believed Stephen's lies now understood the full truth. The carefully constructed narrative had been completely dismantled. Aunt Margaret became my closest confidant. You didn't seek destruction, she'd say. You sought justice. I didn't feel victorious. I felt resolved. Some believe revenge is about making someone suffer. I learned it's about protecting what matters. About showing your true character when everything is falling apart. The phone calls from Stephen eventually stopped. The desperate attempts to explain, to manipulate, to reconnect. I'd built something he could never touch. A life of integrity. A promise kept to our dying father. A family legacy protected. Every challenge became an opportunity. Every setback, a lesson. Some people are defined by their worst moments. Others are defined by how they rise above them. I chose to rise.